G'day Bomber fans, how are we feeling after that game? That is our best win in years. I can't remember one that good. We all went into this quietly confident, but I didn't know it was going to be this good a win. We won quite comfortably in the end. We beat one of the best teams in the comp and moved up to third place on the ladder because of it. It's a huge win, which means it's a huge review coming up. Remember to get your votes in with the role player as well. Should be a very fun tally this week because there wasn't really a solidified best on ground. It was a team effort. Massive win. Let's get into it. Quick recap. First quarter, very messy. Didn't like it. I was confident going into the game, but they were quick to pile on goals, and I lost that confidence quickly. Mackay was getting soundly beaten early. We were providing them with room because of silly turnovers. They were just getting the better of us. 1-4 at the start. They should have had more. The second quarter had an ominous feel to it. There was that Goldstein fumble in the goal square that led to a Toby Green goal. It got them out to a 4 or 5 goal lead. I think everyone was feeling the dread of a potential smashing. There were a few face palms in the crowd, but to our credit, we started to defend the ground better and actually won the quarter. We trailed by 2 goals at halftime. I would have liked to be a fly on the wall at that halftime huddle because the way we came out and played in that second half, that third quarter might be the most enjoyable term of footy for Essendon in quite some time. That was pure football. It was a defensive masterclass, and we made them pay on the scoreboard as well. 2-5. We completely controlled the game. We controlled the ground. That was just fun to watch. It looked like we were playing North, not GWS. And because we led at 3-quarter time, all we needed to do in the fourth was hold on, and that's what we did. It was low scoring, maybe boring at time for neutrals, 3-1, but that's all that needed to be done. We ended up winning very comfortably in the end, despite being so poor to start the game. So, how did we win this game of footy? We'll start with the midfield. The intense pressure we showed there was just nuts. I don't know the rating, but it would have had to be up there with our best for the year. And the thing is, we talked about contested footy in the preview and the Giants being a harder team to beat when they're up and about. We did have less on the tally, less clearances, less contested possessions, but we just looked better and cleaner. And it comes from the pressure we applied when they had ball in hand. 41-25, we outscored them from stoppages. That's with 1 less clearance and also less numbers at times. We were quite often rolling out an extra defender from the midfield to give us more assurance down back, but it didn't really affect our stoppage craft because we were so hot around the footy. It's just great to be constantly praising our midfield, and it comes from everyone as well. Durham and Merritt are amazing. I don't know what has happened to Durham. He's become one of our best players. They're just awesome footballers. Caldwell was so underrated. Goldstein against Briggs. I'm loving this Goldstein acquisition. He killed Briggs. Even Darcy Parish, who had a down game, still applied heat. It was a full team effort in the guts. I think we claimed another engine room scalp here, and a big one at that. The main area of notice for me, though, was the halfbacks, both teams' halfback lines, because GWS are famous for their orange tsunami. I highlighted it in length in the preview, but it was nowhere to be seen on Saturday. They averaged 43 points per game from their defensive half, and we kept them to 15 on Saturday. And really, it's because of the efforts from our forwards and higher midfielders to shut out their running backs and apply pressure when we could. You'll see in the votes, but Mac Guelphy, Ken from Barbie, he was just about our most important player on the field. Lockie Whitfield had 18 disposals and 6 of them were kick-ins. He completely shut out Whitfield. Guelphy did. He's the All-Australian halfback flanker at this stage of the year, and he was shut out by Guelphy in a tagging role, and that's nothing new. He nullified Sicily as well in round 1. He's becoming a real weapon, an underrated pressure forward, and even the efforts of Stringer, who had a poor day but managed to put together 24 pressure acts. It's that pressure that can kill teams rebounding. We used to be so scared of teams like GWS because our kryptonite has always been defensive half transition, but we saw none of it on the weekend. We shut them out completely, and that to me is more impressive than anything we could be talking about today. We are finally talking about transition defense, and we aren't cringing while doing so, and that's awesome. Our backline was helped out by those up the ground, but our back 6, I thought they were really, really strong as they've been. All of them, in fact. We kept a really good attacking team down to their lowest score of the year, and I think while the third quarter was visually the most pleasing for fans, that last term has to be the blueprint for the rest of the year because we completely smothered them. They scored that early Bedford goal and then didn't threaten at all for the rest of the term. If I remember correctly, there were about 15 minutes of game time with them stuck on 62 points. They just couldn't hit the scoreboard like we could, and really that was the story for most of the day, bar that first quarter. 19 scoring shots to their 10 after the first term. Mackay shut out Hogan after he looked ominous early. Kelly was obviously brilliant on green. I thought Laverty was really good, probably his best game of the year. Mason Redmond, you could argue any of the back 6 deserve votes this week. Everyone won their direct matchup and won it comfortably. It was such an impressive team defensive performance across the board. I'd be happy if we did that against a team like North or Richmond. I'd be talking about it, praising us. So for us to do it against GWS, I'm beyond thrilled. I just felt proud watching it all come together. I feel like this was the game that told us we are no longer an easy team to score against. Last year we were, in 2024 we're not. Aside from the pressure which I spoke of before, I thought our forward line was just brilliant, and it's funny because you had Gresham, Wright and Jones all go goalless, but against the top defence we were outstanding. The connection between the mids and the forwards was unreal. some of the ball use going inside 50, and not just from the usual suspects, not from Merritt. You had Perkins and Durham, even Nick Hind going inside 50. As a team as a whole, we were just clean as we have been going inside 50 in ages, and it helps that when we weren't clean, we weren't giving the Giants easy, uncontested intercepts. This is one of the very best backlines in the league. They had Taylor, Buckley, and we had them working hard. The 82-point scoreline favours them because we had some horror shots on goal as well. Stringer missed some absolute sitters, so too Jones. Gresham missed a howler. We were by no means perfect in front of goal, but we gave ourselves so many chances, which helped because they didn't get as many. I know it's weird to be hyped about a forward line with a score of 82, but I'm going to talk about it a bit more because the way we managed to separate our own players from each other in their inside 50 to avoid GWS defenders getting in close proximity to one another, I thought it was really impressive. The leading patterns were so clever. Wright and Jones were bringing Taylor so far away from the action at times, isolating Buckley, who had his hands full with Langford. It got to a stage where they had to swap and switch Taylor onto Langford, which affected his intercepting ability. I thought Taylor had 2 good quarters, but he was up against it all day thanks to our forward line and how well it was functioning. It's not close to our high score for the year, but it's just about the best we have looked, or close to it. Now, something I want to talk about because it's not being mentioned enough, and I guess it's something we've seen a lot over the last few years because of our ability to play well from the back half, but the way we managed to find space around the ground I thought was awesome, and in different periods of the game as well. I noticed it a lot in that third quarter when we were behind and trying to find a way back into the game. It helped us keep a steady head and maintain composure when venturing forward. And then also on the flip side, late when we were going into end game mode, killing the match, buying time, it's a really good asset to have as a team because it can really help in so many different scenarios, and we saw that against the Giants. That's the kind of play and awareness that can win you big games. If you control the ball, control the footy, control the game, you win it. And if we do break our final streak in 2024, you'll see it feature heavily, our ability to find space. It's why we are good in close games as well. We just have that little bit of extra maturity now, even from younger guys. You see it with Martin a lot, and he's only been in the system for 2.5 years. Something else we should really be talking about is the fact we won this game without a genuine star impacting it, aside from Langford, that is. But even Langford's only really been a star for under a year. You look at the usual suspects. Stringer was poor. Merritt was quiet by his lofty standards. Peter Wright didn't kick a goal, let's just say. Darcy Parish was nowhere. These are the guys many would consider our best players, but they weren't the ones getting the job done. And it's great because last week we saw Merritt almost carry the team on his back and win the game. But here, I guess we've evolved a bit and we no longer rely on individuals. We are a really evenly structured team in most areas. The fact we kicked a winning score with Gresham, Jones and Wright all goalless, that's surprising in and of itself. And we're starting to see those younger guys come through and become players. Caldwell and Durham, they're no longer potential players. They are well and truly having an impact. And also, the guys that cop flack from us fans, no one liked the inclusion of Hind, but he played, I'd say, his best game for us. Jake Kelly, he was awesome, genuinely awesome. And he has been for the last few weeks. It's not new. He's proving fans wrong. Matt Guelphy wasn't the number one choice of small forward from fans before round 1, and now he is. These role players are doing such a good job, and we talk about why Caddy, Shiel and Sartas aren't playing. It's because of these guys. It's so hard to drop players when the fringe members are playing so well. I feel like I've had to say this in every video. We have had a bad period in every game. We let them get off to a quick start. We were down by 4 or 5 goals. But on the flip side, the response, the way we fought back into the contest is unreal. If we're to continue this form, the Essendon Edge title has to stick. And if it does stick, we will look back on games like this where we look close to being pummeled early and then somehow gather momentum and find hard-fought wins. It comes from pressure. The best way to get back into a game is just go bananas in close and personal. And that's what we started to do. Periods of that second term were a bit chaotic, but at least the chaos was without a preference. It helped us give us scoring opportunities that in turn led us back into the game. And from there, we were the team to compose ourselves quicker as well. It was just a really professional performance. Got to praise the coach. I think we won this game in the coach's box a bit. I feel like Scott was constantly putting Kingsley on the back foot non-stop throughout the game, putting Guelphy in that hard negating role on Whitfield, forcing him to shift magnets, pushing Whitfield up higher at times, which hurt their ball use out of the back half, having Kelly follow Green around all day, the hard focus on Green to keep him out of the game, giving them less star power, even bringing Stringer into the centre bounces with Tom Green at times to give us more strength for when he was present. As I said, taking away numbers from certain stoppages as well to give us more cover down back. I feel like this was just such a well-coached game. When we talk about season-defining wins, these are the ones that you look back on at the end of the year, and I'm not saying that we're going to go places in 2024 just yet. It is still so early into the year. We aren't even halfway through it, but if we do end up breaking a streak or going far in September, we're going to look back on this game as the one that shaped it. It's a massive win. We were called fake and labelled as a team that only beat up, or not even beat up, just managed to scrape wins past the easy beats of the comp. But now we just managed to beat up on a team team many consider to be the premiership contenders, if not favourites. And we did it half a year after they absolutely smashed us by 126 points. I'm just proud of this team right now, and I'm having so much fun supporting them. They are trustworthy, and the way for them to win, really win us over, would be to go out and demolish the Roos next week. It was a huge win for the club against the Giants. Great week to be an Essendon fan. It would be even better if we go out and get a big percentage booster. It's a great month to be an Essendon fan, not a great week. Let's get on to the votes. One vote to Ben Mackay, who looked horrible early. He lost an easy one-on-one. He let Hogan out on some leads, but he battled his way back into the game almost instantly and became a real force. 10 intercept possessions, I think. Kept Hogan to 2 goals as well. 2 votes to Ken from Barbie. Matt Rolfie isn't even a role player anymore. He was a game changer. He completely shut out Whitfield and hit the scoreboard. I was tempted to give him 3 because he's so handsome, but 3 votes to another handsome man, Kyle Langford, who was just immense when it mattered most. 4 goals and assists, really good leads, good presentation. He was awesome. He has had a really underrated season so far. He's not up there in the votes for us, but up there in the Coleman. And the role player was Jake Kelly, who pocketed Toby Green. We talk about players, role players. This is one of them. He's been doing this the last few weeks, pocketing dangerous forwards. I don't want to see him on the wing when he plays this well down back. He's been one of our best players in the last month. Kelly was just immense, and those are my votes. Leave yours down in the comments below. Should be an interesting week for them. That is all though. Huge win, biggest we've seen in years. Now the expectation has to be finals. Anything else would be disappointing considering we are currently 3rd on the ladder, coming up against a string of bottom 10 teams as well. If we're serious, we should be winning these next 3 games. We can't be complacent and switch off, because that's how you ruin a season. There is now a lot of pressure on us to perform, so we now have to show we are able to do so. Cheers for watching, guys. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and as always, go Bombers.